Hello everyone, my name is X-3, also known as Jordan, and today I want to show you guys how to create this Justice's Pet. Justice's Pet is a very strange synth. I decided not to use any of the distortion filters or any of those type of instruments, mainly because I want to see if it's possible to really use some of the synths and presets to really generate something new. So that's kind of what I did, and I also created a little bit of a mapping for this parameter 1. So I'm going to play a little demo example of this synth in action, and then I'll show you guys how to create this beast. So here we go. Alright, so the very first thing we want to have is a combinator. And so what I'm going to do with my combinator first is just throw in all the instruments, and then we're going to wire them up. After that point, I'm going to show you how to create the synth, because the wiring and the technique for this is just a little bit difficult. So what I'm going to do is throw in a subtractor. I'm going to throw in a RV digital vocoder of 512. I'm going to basically hold down Alt or Option and just click and drag one down. Do that again. Hit Tab. I'm going to take the left out and plug that down. Take the left out, plug that down, and leave it unplugged because we're going to still use a lot more instruments. So after this vocoder, we're going to use a RV7000 advanced reverb. Don't mess with any of the parameters right now, we're just gonna load the instruments. So after the final vocoder, I'm going to use a unison. After that, we're going to actually, in between these two, we're just gonna place that there. So after the vocoder, we're going to throw in a instance of Thor. I'm sorry, not Thor, Maelstrom. I always get those mixed up. Anyways, for Maelstrom, we're going to basically use a patch. Now this patch is pretty important since most of the audio that we're going to receive is going to go through filter A and filter B. And okay. So this is actually one of my patches. It's called Herserfs, and I'll put that in the link below so that way you can download it. So that's my little patch. It's pretty basic, pretty raw, pretty nasty. I like it a lot. Anyways, so after this, we're going to create a subtractor. Gonna hit Tab, and as you can see, it didn't rewire correctly. So I'm going to take out my main output, and I want to take the left and right output and plug them into my audio input from my unison. Actually, I have that backwards. I'm actually still going to leave the in and out, but I'm going to attach that to the vocoder instead. So we have this left, it goes into the left unison, and that left goes into the left of the BV512 final vocoder. And now that we have that routed, I'm going to, instead of putting both of these, I'm just going to use the left, and for the right, we're going to throw in our subtractors, so link those two up. After that, I'm going to throw in another instance of Maelstrom. So I'm gonna throw in Maelstrom, hit Tab to flip it over, and it still didn't rewire correctly for whatever reason. Anyways, since these are both taken up, I'm going to take my main output and plug it into my input on my maelstrom, my last maelstrom. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, so after this, we're going to hit tab to flip it back over. We don't need to mess with any of the routings from here. Actually, there is one more, and that's when we create our pulverizer. So when I hit tab, I'm going to, I just want to make sure I did this correctly. Oh, okay. So yeah, false alarm. You don't need to mess with any of the routings other than reattaching it to the combinator up here. Boo, 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 from devices right there. Hit tab. And now that we're back with the pulverizer, I'm going to throw on both, I'm sorry, not both, but all three of my M-class equalizers. Sorry if I'm boring you, but this is just like a really, really heavy process. So it's just important that you get this correctly. After this, we're going to throw on a M-class maximizer. I'm going to take it off limiter, put soft clip, and arm it to 127. I'm just going to do that right now because that's the only thing we do. We don't mess with anything else for the maximizer. That's it. Just the soft clip and set it to 127. So I'm going to take a quick second and I'll be right back. All right. So now that I'm back and rejuvenated, it's time to tackle this beast. So for the first oscillator, that's what I'm going to do with my subtractor, is that I'm going to go through my oscillators and basically my filter, my amp envelope, and then we're going to move on with some of the effects and then later with the rest of the instruments. Okay, so what I'm going to do first off is set this to a neutral algorithm, and I'm going to set this to a square. I'm going to take it down an octave, and I'm going to set the semi to 7. And for the FM, let me make sure I get this correctly. The FM is going to be 8. Why 8? Because 8 is enough. I'm going to kick that dead dog joke into the ground. Okay, so now I'm going to turn on my oscillator 2. And I'm going to set it to a negative algorithm, this right here. And that's all we do for that synth. We just turn it on and leave it on. For the filter, we set it to a bandpass filter. I'm sorry it took me a second. I had a little bit of a brain fart. Anyways, after that, we're going to just take our decay down to about 25 and our sustain all the way. We're going to take up our attack to about 10 and our release to about 22, just to give it a little bit of breathing room. So that's the subtractor sound. Not very exciting. So now what we're going to do is move on to our vocoder. So for the first vocoder, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down to -24. And for our RV7000, I'm going to use a patch called All the Met. I want to take this decay all the way down to about 11, and the dry wet, I want to take that down to 10.